Welcome back to Pieces of Impact. I am very excited to join you today for a solo episode where I cover four topics that I found interesting at the moment and that I'm reading. My name is Steve Seeger. I'm the host here, and typically we document conversations with impactful people across business, media, sports, the outdoors, among other things. But today we got a solo episode. And what I like to do at the beginning of these is to give you an idea of the four topics that I'll cover, and you decide if you want to spend the time listening or hit the off button right now. It will not hurt my feelings, but I want to give you the opportunity to do so before we get going here. The four topics. The first one is I'm going to talk about Parkinson's law, which I'll elaborate a little more on here in a moment. The second one is about sinks and why they are put in public places and the psychology behind that. Third is going to be about a new hire that Ohio State football just made. He's a Bill Belichick not protege, but he worked with Bill Belichick a while back, and now Matt Patricia is bringing him in. He's got a black belt, pretty cool hire. And the fourth one is going to be about Darth Vader. Probably lose a lot of you on that one, but hopefully a couple stick around. It's pretty interesting to me. First topic is Parkinson's law. I see this play out now a lot in my life now that I'm actually paying attention to it. So if I give myself 4 hours to do something, it's going to take 4 hours probably. But if I cut that time and I say, I need to get this done in 2 hours, then I somehow find a way to get it done in two. And that idea has a name. It's Parkinson's law. It's when work expands to fill the time that you allot for it. Once you are paying attention to it, you start to see it everywhere in your life, whether it's writing, cleaning, maybe packing for a trip. It all stretches or compresses depending on the container or the constraint that you actually put on it. Um, it's not just procrastination, it's overthinking, and you spend unnecessary time on things that you're able to. You'll just keep adding tasks to it and continuing to run yourself in circles. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make is thinking that they need more time. And sometimes you do. I mean, relationships sometimes need more time, or creative work might need more time. But a lot of the day to day is not because you have a lack of time. A lot of the things you get stuck on, it's just because you don't have a constraint on it. And it's kind of neat when you try to change that and try to experiment with it a little bit. So when you set a tighter constraint on something, it's going to force you to have clarity and really move because the pressure is on. So when there's something that's dragging for me, at least, it really comes down to one or two things. It's that I haven't defined a finish line for it that I need to get it done by, or I've just given myself too much wiggle room on it. And both are fixable. I work in time blocks. I mean, I set times on my schedule where I need to get something done, and I define what a finished version of that is going to look like before I start. And the takeaway really for me is simple, is that most of the time you don't need more time to do things. You just need to set a tighter constraint on it in the front end and experiment with it. Give it a try and let me know if it works for you. I'm sure there's ways that it won't, and ways that it will, but it's fun to think about. The second topic is the psychology behind putting sinks outside of bathrooms. I was eating lunch like a couple weeks ago, and I went to the restroom, and it was one of those sink outside places. So I was like, oh, I gotta wash my hands. People are gonna see me. Don't want people to think I'm dirty. I always usually do wash my hands, but there's there's a reason that they do that, and there's a psychological reason behind it. And at first, it sounds like a small thing. I mean, who cares where the sink is? The topic itself might be boring to some. If someone's going to wash their hands, then they will. If someone doesn't want to, they won't. But the more that I was reading about it, it's really just a perfect example of how the environment that you're in is going to drive your behavior. And the strongest version of this argument is not that outside sinks are always better. It's about that visibility, convenience, and the social cues that I was kind of just hinting at before. There's research that shows that when sinks are more visible, people wash their hands more often and for longer. So even simple cues like arrows pointing from a toilet to the sink on the floor will increase compliance as well. And It makes sense. I mean, if something's easy to see and part of your natural flow, more often than not, you're going to be more likely to do it. And if it's hidden or inconvenient, fewer people are going to do it. So you can layer in the social element too. When a behavior is more visible, it starts to feel like the norm. So people will see others washing their hands outside of the bathroom in front of others, and they'll be more likely to do it. And it really applies to everything. So we spend a lot of time talking about discipline, and I don't think we talk enough about friction. So if you want to write more, you need to put a pen and paper out in an easy to grab spot, or you need to have your laptop already open and ready to go first thing in the morning, right at your desk with the document already open. Just create less friction for you to go do things. So I mean, I an example in my world is I pack my gym bag the night before I go to work out, and it's already sitting out. So in the morning, all I need to do is grab my bag, get dressed, and then I have my coffee already sitting out too, and I'm good to go. And I think this is a fun little example, that kind of the lesson is sort of applicable more widely, or at least I'm trying to make it more applicable to other things. But the real takeaway is that the problem is not motivation at all times. It's just the environment that you're put in. I don't know if I landed that ship well, but fun topic. Let's go to the third, which is Joe Kim, who's the new Ohio State defensive line hire. And I think his story is awesome. I mean, not because he's like a really neat guy and it's sort of like a outsider experience coming into a really specialized program. But if you don't know him, he is a longtime martial arts coach and a pass rush specialist, specialist. Jesus, I can't talk today. He's a seventh degree black belt in Taekwondo. He's worked with multiple NFL teams, including the New England Patriots, where he met Matt Patricia, who's the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. And now he's working with the Ohio State defensive line. The origin story of how he got into football is pretty interesting because he had no background. He climbed no coaching tree. I mean, I guess he did, but the way that he got in was that Bill Belichick read about him and he was coaching in Cleveland and he told two of his defensive linemen, I want you to go train with him. And they did, and the results were really great. I mean, they ended up hiring him as a result of that. And I think the point is that this is applicable to anything, business, sports, a lot of other lanes. And I think smart operators think this way. They're not asking, does he look like a football coach? They're actually asking, does he have and understand the skills that it takes to succeed? And can that translate to my team or my organization? When you think about pass rushing too, it makes perfect sense. I mean, hands, footwork, leverage, timing, reading your opponent, that all overlaps with martial arts. And he wasn't trained in football, but he was trained in a sub skill that football depends on, or at least if you want to have success in football, you need to understand these things. And that's the lesson that a lot of industries get stale because everyone's coming from the same background and they think the same way. And the edge is often going to come from bringing a skill from another field. So someone that thinks differently. So sometimes the best person is not the one who climbed your ladder. It's the one that can think differently about a problem. And you see consulting firms hiring people from all kinds of different backgrounds to solve problems. And that's why they do it. It's true in sports, business, everything else. And my takeaway is simple. It's that the right expertise is not always the most obvious one, that sometimes a fresh lens is going to beat more experience sometimes. Jumping now to my fourth topic, which is why a darker Darth Vader sort of spin-off movie could work. It's my last one, and this is where I'll probably fully lose some of you, and that's fine. I am a big Star Wars fan, and I think a Darth Vader movie would be really neat. I know they've done a lot of different shows like Kenobi, Rogue One, a solo story, a lot of spin-off movies outside of the main nine movies. And I think that, I mean, it would be tough using like having Disney make sort of like an R-rated violent Darth Vader movie, but I think they could pull it off. Um, I don't mean just making it violent for no reason. I think that's sort of like a lazy take. What I mean is the tone behind it is something to think about. I mean, Vader's a horror character that is he's somehow in a space movie. I mean, his character is my favorite across the entire series. And if you read the comics, they lean into his, I guess, darkness a lot more than the movies were ever able to. There's stories of him hunting down Jedi right after episode 3, basically forcing them into fighting him. He takes their lightsabers, kills them, corrupts the kyber crystal, which is the crystal inside of the lightsaber that makes it become a lightsaber. And when he corrupts it, it turns red. That's why Sith have red lightsabers. It's not just all that action either. It's sort of psychological too. It's a guy getting pulled deeper and deeper into something that he cannot come back from. And you see it in Revenge of the Sith when he cuts off Mace Windu's arm. He's like, "Yeah, man, like I basically killed one of the most famous Jedi. Like it's going to be tough to turn around and just go back to Obi-Wan and Yoda. Like, hey, man, I'm sorry I screwed up." But I think it would be really cool if they had a really dark movie following him going out on some of Emperor Palpatine's missions that he sent him on, kind of like a HBO style where nothing gets held back. And you get to see the real dark side behind Vader. It's less of the epic space battle Vader and more of the you're stuck in a hallway and Darth Vader just walked in and there's a scene in Rogue One where you kind of get a taste of that I would be very excited to watch a movie like that. And if we're being honest, I'll watch anything that they make and I'll be excited about it. But this would be something that's neat. So that's it for today. To recap, Parkinson's Law shows how time structure is going to drive your productivity. The sync example that I brought up shows how design of your environment is going to shape your behavior. Joe Kim, the new defensive line Taekwondo specialist, is going to show you how cross disciplinary thinking will improve performance. Wild how I'm pulling some of these lessons out of these, I guess, but they're cool topics. I'm trying to show value in them. And the final one was there's not much of a lesson other than Darth Vader is a complete badass and they can make a cool movie about him. I hope you found this enjoyable. And as always, thank you for taking the time to listen. I will see you on the next episode.